First of all, this is a me production. There's no one helping me, so I apologize for the quality of this webcast, but you're just going to have to bear with me. And if I look to my right, I'm just checking the shot. I'm not crazy. And I have a stopwatch here. I'm trying to check to see how long. So this is on ratings, and ratings is one of those 4 jobs of a programmer. If you recall, the first one is select the program, the second one is schedule the programs, the third one is promote the programs, and the fourth one is evaluate. And the way that programmers evaluate is through different kinds of ratings and focus groups, music tests. So if you read your book, it talked a little bit about focus groups. It talked a little bit about music sampling, basically doing call-arounds to see what kind of music people respond to, or bringing people into stadiums and testing music on them. But all these different ways to evaluate, they basically fall into one of 2 categories. We have quantitative research and we have qualitative research. So qualitative research is the why. This is things like focus groups, things that are going to tell you not just what we listen to or what we watch or where we go online, but it's going to tell you why. So the qualitative is the why part of it. The quantitative is the numbers part of it. This is going to measure basically how many people listen to, watch, or visit your website, your television station, or your radio station. And the way that we evaluate quantitatively is through ratings. And there are 3 different types of ratings. Obviously, we're going to measure television ratings, we're going to measure radio ratings, and we're going to measure online ratings. And Nielsen, the Nielsen company, does ratings through for television and for online, whereas Arbitron are the folks who keep track of ratings for radio. And this is a Nielsen's ratings book from the market that I worked in, which is Pittsburgh, and it tells us a whole bunch of things about who is watching television. And if you've ever heard that people live and die through ratings, this is why. This ratings book is going to show us, first of all, the HUTs, which is households using televisions. It's also going to show us the designated market area and the Nielsen Survey Index. And you might remember these from your reading, which was DMA and NSI. And Nielsen divides the country up into several different markets. And there is a piece on the web that I put on there that talks about the different markets in television. And I want to say there's like 216, I'm not sure. I think that this market is somewhere around 35, 36. So anyways, those are the specific markets. We are in the Greenville, Anderson, Spartanburg, Asheville market. So it's a really big market. But what they do is all the people that live in that particular area, they measure what shows you're watching, what networks you're watching, what television stations you're watching, and then programmers at those television stations or at those networks make decisions on what shows they're going to keep and what shows they're not going to keep based on how many people are watching it. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, no one's asking me these questions. And that's one of the big problems with the Nielsen rating system is they do what's called a sample. So they're not talking to every single person in the market that owns a TV or that watches TV. They're only talking to a random sample and then using that random sample as a snapshot of the whole market. And this really is one of the biggest problems with ratings, because if we look at the different markets, New York City is the #1 market, and that has a ridiculous amount of people in it. And New York City is a very liberal town, and it's also a younger town. So they're making a lot of decisions that are affecting the whole nation when it comes to television watching. Whereas Zanesville, Ohio, which is a very, very, very small market and represents a very small number of the population, which is a more rural community, they're making very little decisions as far as nationally what shows get to stay on and what shows get to go off. So that's kind of a snapshot of television ratings, and we're going to get into that particular subject very, very deep. But you do need to know that ratings are collected by Nielsen 4 times a year, and it's looking at specific markets. That's a designated market area. Now the NSI means that sometimes, like for example, if you get Northland Cable, you can actually see Channel 3, I think it's Channel 3 from Charlotte. Now we're not in the Charlotte market, but we get to see the Charlotte television station. So the NSI measures people watching that are outside the designated market area. And so that gives the television stations a different snapshot of that. So that's kind of a background on television ratings, and we're going to talk about Arbitron ratings next.